All right, what's going on, guys? It's Nano back with one more video. Thanks for stopping by. In today's video, we're going to be talking about things that stand out to me when you're talking about dislikes, right? So this is the Pixel 6 right here. If you stay tuned for the video in which I'll talk about things that I am liking about this phone, and then obviously a final review. But there are a couple things that I'm not enjoying about the phone, and those I want to zoom in on a little bit. So we'll kind of get right to it here. So first things first, mostly cosmetic. I'm not sure if you guys can see here or not, but if you're looking at the back camera module, the way the light reflects, you can see this edge, and you can see the edge on the opposite side as well. It's pretty minor. A lot of people are probably not going to talk about it, but it is something I noticed because it looks like to me that they slapped on this big rectangular module here first and then decided that it would look better if they tried to round the edges. I do know that some other YouTubers talked about comparing it to like Samsung's S21 Ultra and how that kind of like spills into the frame itself, so it looks like one cohesive design. And that's kind of what I was wishing Google did here, but it does stand out to me. I'm not a fan of it. Not only that, but if you run your finger across this actual line, you can feel the separation between camera module and the edge here itself. Okay, so that is something that has stood out to me, and something I definitely wanted you guys to be aware of, because the overall design language of the phone, and again, this is the regular Pixel 6, is a really, really nicely built phone. I'm actually enjoying it. So that's one thing I'm not enjoying. If I flip the phone over and I go to the right hand side of the phone, start from the top, you have the power button, and then you have the volume rocker. I am not a huge fan. I do not like the fact that this power button is on top and the volume rocker is below. Given the fact that this is a smaller phone, and I'm using air quotes, smaller phone, I think it'd be better served with having the volume rocker either on the opposite side or the other way. So in other words, volume rocker on top, power button on the bottom. But I think all of this could be solved if you literally just put volume rocker on one side, power button on the other. I found myself constantly, touching the volume and just messing around with my settings on the volume when I was just trying to turn off my phone screen or when I was trying to turn on my phone, and that got annoying really, really quickly. Another thing here, if flip to the other side, you have your SIM tray here. Now this SIM tray is not flush. I have not gotten it to be flush. That could be just a slight imperfection on my design. But it makes me a little uncomfortable because I do not know if it's just because there's a malfunction or if that's just the way it's supposed to be, or if there's going to be some form of concern down the line when it comes to waterproofing and things of that nature. It isn't flush. I've removed it. I put it back in. It sticks out just a little bit. Again, you can run your finger right by it and feel a slight lip on it. So that's another thing to look at, okay? When you go to the front of this phone, speakers, this top speaker grill over here, not that loud, not that good. I'm not a huge fan of it. The ones at the bottom are fine, but the one at the top is the issue. This one right here doesn't get loud enough, and I find myself constantly either having to feel like I'm cupping my phone in my hand, or I'm either turning on the volume a lot louder than what it needs to be just to go ahead and compensate for that. I also overall don't like how loud this phone gets, right? So the speaker itself isn't as good as the bottom one. The bottom ones are fine, but the top of the phone, combined with the fact that the volume level on this phone isn't that good, in my opinion, is something that kind of throws me off. I'm coming from an iPhone 12 Pro Max, and that hasn't been an issue whatsoever. When I had my Galaxy Z Fold 3, it was an issue. When I had my Galaxy Z Flip, it wasn't an issue. And listen, if you're consuming media on your smartphone, which most of us are one way or another, you would like it to get loud enough when you want it to be loud enough. And that's not happening with this phone. It's definitely something to keep in mind. It's noticeable. So not loud enough, and speaker up top not good enough. Bottom is fine. Another thing also, so we know that the phone has a fingerprint reader, scanner, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have any form of Face ID or unlock. Now, we know that compared to, for example, iPhones with their Face ID, all right, most Android face unlocks haven't been that good, haven't been that secure. However, most of them have offered it. Samsung has offered it, and other phones and manufacturers have offered it for quite a while. The fact that Google decided not to offer it kind of throws me off. So it's either finger unlock, which is this, or you're going to be putting in an actual pin or some form of swipe pattern to unlock your phone. And I don't know why Google thought that was the best way to go about this. It is 2021. I think options and choices should be aplenty, and taking those away from us and favoring one form of biometric entry versus another is kind of unnecessary in my opinion. So no face unlock, just fingerprint scanner. Something to think about as well. Lastly, when looking at this phone in comparisons to the 6 Pro, I don't have the 6 Pro right now to actually, hold hand in hand. You are getting slight downgrades on your spec sheet, right? That's pretty obvious. I'm just trying to reiterate that to all of you. You're getting 8 gigs of RAM instead of 12. You are getting a slightly smaller screen. That's fine. I don't use that as a downgrade, but I do want to specify the differences. But the less RAM and the not as good camera sensor and module on the back, that's noticeable, right? Because this is not going to give you that 7-time optical zoom, up to 20 digital that the 6 Pro will. Some of you out there might say, I don't need all of that. I understand that. But you are getting a downgrade in performance. So if you're choosing a smaller phone versus a larger phone, you are making some compromises, whether you like it or not, and whether or not you think they're that important to you or not, you are going to have to accept some compromises. With that being said, those were some things that I have not enjoyed about this phone. Let me know in the comment section below if there are other things that I missed, things that you don't like about this phone. And please stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to talk about the things I do like about this phone, and then overall a final review. Yeah, guys, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Like always, it was Nando. Peace, salutes, adios, and do not forget to stay geeky. Thanks.